Hey everybody, Tyler with Meeple Mountain bringing you some sponsored content today from our friends at Epic Portal Games. They've reached out to us and asked us to preview their new game coming to Kickstarter in April, Barn Brawl. This is a take-that style card game for 2 to 6 players that plays in 30 to 60 minutes based on your player count and your familiarity with the game. This is going to be, again, that take-that kind of game where you're working to get animals into your barn to have the most power, the most creature power at the end of a series of turns. It's always going to be 4 turns per round, so in those 4 turns, you're going to try to do as much damage as you can and make your barn as strong as possible. Then, you're going to decide what creatures you want to send into the fight in hopes that you'll come out on top to get the most points back at the end of that round. The catch is, whatever creatures you send into the fight don't roll over into the next round or stay in your barn. So do you go big in this round and hope you win and maybe lose all those creatures, or do you try to build up so that you can really be sure to win next round? There's some interesting decisions and choices that are packed into this tiny little box, and I'm excited to showcase what you can expect to find when you check out Barn Brawl. So with that said, let's get to the table and learn how to play. Welcome to the world of Barn Brawl. Here we have a setup for what a game might look like with 3 players. I like to call each of the players farmers who are taking on the role of this player, managing the animals in their barnyard and sending them off to brawl to come out on top with the most power. The game is played over a series of rounds consisting of 4 turns worth of card play, and then a barn brawl where you will be competing over these trophies worth 1, 2, or 3 points. The winner of the game is determined by whoever gets to a set number of trophies first. In this case, we'll be competing to get to 10 points worth of trophies first. The person who does that would be the winner. Over the series of card play rounds, you'll be drawing cards into your hand of 6 cards, playing one of each type of the various amounts of cards, and getting ready for the Barnyard Brawl. In the Brawl phase, you'll choose which animals you want to send into the fight, and whoever has the most power packed into the animals that they send into the fight will be the victor. On your turns, you'll be able to play animals or brawlers down into your barn to kind of build up your strength and force. You can equip them with various types of items that give them special abilities, change their abilities, all kinds of different things. You can also play perk cards or counter cards that will also kind of give you the edge over your opponent so that you can come out on top. Once you've had your 4 turns of drawing and playing some cards, you'll then look at all your cards in your barn and take them secretly into your hand and decide how many creatures you want to send into the actual brawl. Just because you have them in your barn doesn't mean they have to go into the brawl for that round. Whatever creatures you decide to send into the brawl will be secret. Everyone will reveal simultaneously and will tally up the items, effects, and total power of each player. Whoever has the most will get 3 points, second will get 2, third will get 1, and so on until all the trophies have been distributed. But here's the catch. Any creatures that you send into the brawl, regardless of whether you win or lose, are discarded and gone, and don't come back to your barn. The creatures you maybe didn't choose to play will stay here for future rounds. So you have some interesting tactical choices to make quite early in the game, where you can decide if you want to just keep sending everything you've played out into the field in hopes that you win, or do you try to build up over a series of rounds, taking some losses, trying to prep to make sure that you can get those 3-point trophies later on in the game. There's lots of variable strategies and lots of cards that give you a lot of replayability and different avenues to victory. So with that said, let's take a look at a player's hand of cards, their barnyard, and talk a little bit about what you can expect to find when you jump into Barn Brawl. Here we have a look at what you might find in a hand of cards for a player, as well as some things that might be in their barnyard or their play area. Now, as we mentioned before, Barn Brawl is played over a series of 4 turns, which are draw and play turns, and then a Barn Brawl round. And how this works is every turn that you're up, you're going to draw 1 card from the deck and add it to your hand, and then you're going to choose. You can play up to 1 of each of the 4 types of cards that there are in the game, and then you'll pass and it'll go to the next player, and we'll do that 4 times, and once the 4th turn has happened, we will then have a brawl phase in which you'll take all of the creature cards that are here in front of you, you'll decide secretly how many you want to actually send into the brawl. They'll go fight. Whoever has the most points or power will gain the highest trophy of Barn Brawl points. And then you will discard all of the cards that were sent into the brawl. Anything that you did not send will stay here in your barnyard for future rounds. So let's talk about the types of cards and a little bit more about how that will work. So There are 4 types of cards in the game. They're dictated by the ribbon that's on the top left of each card. We have these orange ones here. These are brawlers. These are the animals that you would play into your barnyard, and they have a varied amount of strength. The strength is the egg symbol on the top right-hand side of the card. That's how much value they're adding to your total score. Remember, the highest score wins the highest trophy at the Barn Brawl phase. So that's how these guys work. Some of them, you'll notice, have some text and special abilities on the bottom of them as well. It may happen when they're played, when they're discarded. All kinds of different effects are packed into these little guys. Next, we have item cards. Items are the green ribbon cards. They can be slotted into your brawlers and give them a modified effect in some way. Blue cards are perk cards. They do all kinds of things. They're basically special events or actions that will happen, and they can do all kinds of mean things or really nice things for yourself. Finally, we have the back off card. These are negate cards. Basically, think of them like a blue deck from Magic. It's a cancel effect. It's going to stop your opponent from doing something. It basically stops them whenever they want to play a card. So, someone tries to play a creature out into their barn, you could cancel it. Someone tries to play an event with a perk card, you can cancel it. You can cancel a cancel. So that can create some fun back and forth with cards as well. These can be very powerful and certainly stop your opponents from seeing their strategy to fruition, which is very key in a game of Barn Brawl. So these are the cards that you would expect to find. As I said, you would be drawing and playing up to 4 of these cards each turn. Once 4 turns are done, then you go to this brawl phase, which is where you're going to take these cards secretly in your hand, whatever's in your barn, in your play area, and you're going to decide, do I think if I sent all of this out into the fight, would I win? Would I get the most points? Is this enough strength? You could kind of gauge with what you saw your opponents have in their barn. You have to make some tough choices. You can decide if you want to send everything, or maybe you want to just go in a little bit and keep some things back, keep some things safe. And so let's say we did this. We sent our Shell Shocker out there, and maybe he doesn't win, but he gets a few points. The good thing is we get to keep our other creatures that we didn't send out and keep them here in our barnyard for future rounds. So you can see where the strategy comes into play. Do you swing for the fences and hope that you come out victorious and get the highest points? But what if no one else does? What if they stayed really low and now you don't have enough barn brawlers for future rounds and you could lose a lot of points that way? So there's this fun bidding, bluffing, negotiation aspect almost where you have to strategize around what you're trying to accomplish, how you think you'll win, but also making sure that you're not overbidding for points and your opponents are kind of getting to build up their forces to really run crazy later on in the game. And as we mentioned, this will go round after round until some player has collected enough points total to get to a set value. This would be a victory for a 2 to 4 player game for 10 points worth of cards, but that varies based on your player count. So whenever a player reaches their trophy point value for that particular game, the game ends with them as the victor. It's quite a simple game as far as mechanics of play and what can happen, but the real intricacies of Barn Brawl happen with the strategy of the card combos that you're creating between your brawlers and your items, how you strategically use your perk cards to really come out on top, and, most importantly, how you choose to use your brawlers and get them out into the fight and maximize your point gain by minimizing how many brawlers you have to lose round after round. And that is everything that you need to know in a nutshell to jump in and have a really good time with Barn Brawl. I want to thank Epic Portal Games for sponsoring this preview, and since this is sponsored content, I'm not going to get into a review and share my personal thoughts, critiques, feedback, anything like that. I will leave that for you guys to discover when this game launches on Kickstarter in April. But I do hope that this gave you a taste of what to expect if you were to play Barn Brawl, and hopefully lets you know if this game might be for you and your group or not. But I want to thank you guys for coming to Meeple Mountain. I hope that you enjoyed this video and this content. If you do, like and subscribe, drop us a comment. We love to hear from you guys on the videos that we do. So feel free to do that as well. But thank you so much for coming and checking out this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I want to, as always, wish you happy gaming.
Thanks for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out these links to find some other games you might want to bring to the table. This is Tyler Williams, signing off.